Get Outdoors, KTAR News on 92.3 FM and KTAR.com.
All right, we got this thing back on track. Here we go. All right. Nice. Love technical difficulties every now and again. It's no big deal. We just move on. That's how we do things. We got a text to 411-923. Your text always at 411-923. Come right here to the show. Caught 3 20-plus inch stripers last week. Awesome dinner. Yes, I bet it was an awesome dinner. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to get pictures of those bad boys onto our show page at facebook.com/GetOutdoorsAZ or tweet us at GetOutdoorsAZ or Mike at KTAR.com. Very, very cool stuff. I like that. All right. Let's get down to guns. Brought to you by AZ Firearms from AZ Firearms, the head instructor at AZ Firearms and the law enforcement sales guy over there. You are an NRA instructor. You taught CCW. You taught in the military. You have more experience, Frank, than I think I could ever muster in one room. You're here to help us get started in guns, right?
That's right, Mike. One thing I want to do for everybody is emphasize something that Mike said at the beginning. We're talking about new shooters, first-time shooters, but I want to emphasize this is just as important for us experienced shooters.
Okay.
Because we owe it to this great sport to be able to get new people into the sport and do it, as you said, the right way. We really have to think of ourselves as ambassadors.
Okay.
Now, all of you experienced shooters, you're ambassadors. Not nearly to the level that Mike Russell is.
Oh, come on now.
I mean, think about it. He has his own show on the best radio station in Arizona.
That's true.
And we know he got that due to the depth of his knowledge and the unbelievably great skills in communications. Or it was luck.
Yeah,
one of the two.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with luck.
Yeah,
let's stick with the latter on that one. That's for darn sure. Something about a blind squirrel. I don't know.
Right.
Yes. They said I had the voice for it, and I like to be outside. You have an outdoor show.
That's it. It's fishing, shooting, and a radio career all the same. I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
There you go. I'm going to take that all day long because I said there is a little bit of luck. Now, Frank's going to take your calls as well at 602-277-5827 is the number, 602-277-KTAR, or your text at 411-923. So let's start with the basics. Okay,
right.
Let's start with getting in there. Let's say I'm holding a gun like I hold a skunk. Okay, keep it at arm's length. Where do we start?
Well, first of all, you want to find a good store and a good instructor.
Okay.
And how do you do that?
Yeah,
well,
that's a good question.
I would say you look for 2 red flags, things you want to avoid. That makes it easy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a store, a salesperson, or an instructor that's overly opinionated. How many of these people out there, if it isn't an X gun, it's everything else is junk.
Right.
And, don't shoot anything but a 40, whatever, because nothing else is powerful enough. There are all sorts of guns.
You hear stopping power. That one doesn't have any
That's
stopping power. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
I shoot anybody in the face with anything, it's going to stop them.
That's
Thank
right.
you much.
Yeah, at least change their train of thought.
There you go, right?
And so you want all the guns made today, with a few exceptions, are great. All the calibers have a place. The other one is ego. Is that person there for you, or is that person there for their own ego?
Okay.
And you can see that in just a few minutes in a store or with an instructor. You may be an experienced shooter, and you may want to get your partner into it, or both of you may be new, or you may be by yourself. Please, I want to emphasize, when you walk into a store or you go into that instructor or that range the first time, with one exception, every one of us has been a first-time shooter. We all remember that day.
Right.
And good shooters will welcome you. They won't talk over your head. They won't talk down to you. And that's the person you're looking for to help you. I said one exception.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
That one exception is Mike Russell.
Oh, here we go with this again. Here we go.
I heard you were born with a fishing pole in one hand and a firearm in the other. But most of us had a first day.
Yes, and that's true. And it's true in everything, by the way. You can even take it out of guns. You can take it out of guns. It's true in everything. Stop looking down on people. Understand, no matter what you do, what you were good at, there was always somebody's first day. Yep, always.
Exactly.
And firearms are no exception to that.
Exactly. And something for if it's partners and either the woman's a shooter and trying to get her husband in or vice versa. This generally applies if it's the male that's the shooter. A I've had a lot of women in classes say, well, I don't want to shoot any of these other guns because my husband says I have to shoot a 45.
Right.
That's
Oh,
what he shoots.
all right. Yeah.
And that, to be honest, that drives me crazy.
Okay.
And I had a woman's class, and a lady said that. Actually, a couple of them did. And the way I presented it, I complimented the lady on her shoes. I said, boy, those are nice shoes. They're real pretty. They match your outfit. And, of course,
Hey,
these
wait a
women,
second. Hey,
these women are looking at me. Where's this old retired guy going?
Yeah.
Lady next to her, I said, that's a beautiful purse. It really, nice leather. It looks like I noticed it when you first walked in. Now I see him start to get a little antsy. What's he doing?
Yeah.
So I said, ladies, let me ask you a question. Did your husband pick those shoes or that purse?
Not if they're nice. No.
Of course not. They wouldn't. I said, well, please do yourself a favor. If you don't let your husband pick your shoes or your purse, don't let him pick your gun.
Nice. Exactly.
It has to do with hand size. It has to do with wrist and finger strength. You need to find a gun that fits you and you're comfortable shooting.
Right. And not just that you can shoot.
Right.
Okay? Because, yes, you probably can handle a .357 mag, but if it doesn't feel right to you, if you're not comfortable with it, it's not going to – it can't help you. You're not going to do let's go to Mike in Mesa. Mike, welcome to the show. You're on with Frank Mercy.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I was calling about some fishing.
Oh, okay, you're calling about fishing. Awesome. What do you got? Quickly.
Well, okay, I was just kind of curious. I don't know. I kind of heard you at the end talking about the high school fishing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you mentioned about the Elite Series coming to Arizona in a couple weeks.
I did not mention that.
You know, that's a big deal. There's 4 Arizona fishermen fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series, and they don't get to Arizona very often.
All right.
They're fishing at Lake Havasu in 2 weeks.
Hey, Mike, do me a favor. Mike, can you send me that link on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GetOutdoorsAZ? Can you hook us up with that?
You know, I don't do Facebook.
Okay, just send it to Mike at KTAR then. How about that?
That'll work.
All right. Hey, thanks, Mike. We really appreciate
thank you.
it. All right, bye-bye. Yeah. All right, sorry. Let's getting back into that. So let's start with that. We did have a text that came in that talked about where do we find classes? Do you Google gun classes? What do you do?
There are classes all over. In fact, if you email our store,
okay,
sales@azfirearms.com,
sales@azfirearms.com,
or your show, we have a list of great instructors. As far as instructors, I'd say you want to look for NRA trained instructors or law enforcement trained instructors. Mm-hmm. Technically, someone can call themselves an instructor, but if they've been trained with one of those endeavors, they're going to be pretty good. They're going to know how to teach. You're not looking for the best shooter. You're looking for the best instructor.
Let me touch on that. I want you to understand this. Do you know the qualifications to be a golf instructor? Someone will pay you to teach them how to play golf. And being serious, that is it. Maybe you're a nice guy, you got a nice smile, you can swing a golf club, you're a 2 handicap. You can go teach people. I think that's kind of the same. People say, I will teach you how to shoot a gun. So it's important to look at the background of who is teaching you, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, because you have some credentials, by the way. Now, you're semi-retired, so we're not going to go fill up all your classes. But you've taught concealed carry. You've taught, you're an NRA instructor. You have actually done the time. You've trained in the military. You've taught in the military. You have that kind of background, and you're kind of easy to talk to.
Well,
yeah. Next week we're going to talk to Arlie Ermy, by the way, Gunny. We're going to talk to him, by the way. I might fear him as a shooting instructor, by the way. I might. He'd be yelling, "Watch your major malfunction!" Like, I just wanted to pick up the gun. Stop it. Okay, so getting to the classes. So where now I found classes. Good. I found a list of classes. I found a list of instructors. Are there different kinds? Is there a 101 course all the way to the advanced levels?
I would say most instructors will teach any way you want. Obviously, a 101 class is going to cost a little more. But if you're a new instructor, that's probably a good way to go. Go by yourself or with a couple of friends. Maybe not in a group of 20.
Now you're out in Avondale,
right?
At
West
AZ
Side.
Firearms, West Side. I did not see that coming, Frank. I'm not kidding. We have a text here 411-923. I live in Mesa. Any recommendations out there, out on the east side?
Oh wow, there are 2 or 3 indoor ranges, and the name slipped my mind. I would say just do a search for shooting ranges.
But is the you said on azfirearms.com as well? Yeah. Oh no, you email sales. Email sales at azfirearms.com, and we're going to get you that information, or send it to me at mike@ktar.com, and we will we'll get you the information. Let's go to Jack. Jack, welcome to the show. What's your question for Frank?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I have a private collection of firearms that was handed down to me from my father. There are some that are very sentimental to me, and some that I'm just ready to let go. I'm just trying to find out what's the best way to maybe offload those guns. Where would I go with that?
Very good point. There are a lot of pitfalls in that. Technically, you can sell a gun to anyone. It's a good idea to make sure you know who they are and if they're legal to own a gun. However, I would say our store, we have experts on the values, and you've heard Dan and Cheryl on here. They're straight shooters in a lot of ways, and if you want to bring the guns to the store, they will give you a real good idea what the value of those guns are.
And when you say you have a collection, are these older weapons, or what are they?
Well, I have anywhere from some 1903 guns up to some Kimber 45s, a few AR-15. It's a variety. I have some 49ers, Blackhawks. I have a variety.
Jack, let me tell you something, and this is from personal experience, and this has nothing to do with the fact that AZ Firearms is part of my show. Right. I'm telling you this sincerely. You will bring that collection of firearms into AZ Firearms, and you will see a bunch of grown men acting like kids in a candy store because they get that excited about it. They will teach you history of these guns. They will show you what to do with these guns, what they're worth, anything. If nothing else, just to sit there and see your collection, that's what they get excited about. So I know you're in Peoria. It's just a quick shot down the road for you.
Yeah, and another point, too, if you heard Dan last week, we have a unique thing in that we're also an auction house.
That's true.
Okay. So Dan will tell you what we could give you if you want to sell them all together, or what they're worth if you want to sell them on your own, or a good, safe way is put them in the auction, because any gun that's sold in our auction is sold through the ATF. People have to fill out the form and pass a background check.
Right. So it's done the right way.
Correct.
And what they'll do is they'll probably guide you. They're not going to tell you, by the way. They will guide you into what you probably want to get rid of, can get rid of, should hold on to, should not hold on to, and then tell you the best way to do that. And if it's not with them, they have no problem sending you to the right people.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, I appreciate the directions.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Yeah. And that's important too. A lot of people get into shooting this way. That was a great thing that Jack brought up there, that they inherit. Oh my goodness, I just inherited Grandpa's arsenal.
Right.
So what do we do with that? We're going to get to that. What I want to do is I want to get to that when we come back. More with Frank Mercy. We're going different directions, but we are going to talk instruction. I promise. In your calls at 602-277-5827 or text at 411-923 next.
Get outdoors with Mike Russell. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
This half hour brought to you by AZ Firearms, azfirearms.com. You check them out in Avondale or on the interwebs. By the way, they can sell guns in all 50 states. If 50, I think that's all of them, right? Yeah, okay, that's all of them. Here's what I love about our community. I love about the world of shooting sports and the world of outdoors. We always help each other. I mentioned that text last segment about any suggestions or recommendations out in Mesa, and then we get a text right away. Here, I got a recommendation to Mesa. How cool is that? I absolutely love that. The recommendation comes from Coswell's in Mesa. Is a real nice shooting range there. It's not super huge, but it's intimate and relaxed, comfortable place, and he uses it frequently. So you got to check that out. Coswell's in Mesa. Thank you for doing that. 411-923, your text. Your calls at 602-277-5827, 277 KTAR is the number. We have Frank Mercy. He's an NRA instructor, a concealed carry instructor. He's taught in the military. This guy knows how to get people started the right way, thank you very much, with firearms. Let's talk about the right way, and let's talk about starting. Let's talk about first gun. What should I get my kid as a first gun? I don't know. Let's talk.
Big question, and that's a great first question. As Dan said last week, if it's a youngster, the rifle's probably good.
Okay.
It gives them more confidence, a little easier to use at the beginning. But if it's adults, then once you choose rifle or handgun, handgun is more versatile, more portable, and if protection is part of your issue, then it's probably better for protection. So if you decide on a handgun, the next thing would be a revolver or semi-auto.
Okay.
Revolvers are a little bit simpler to operate. Semi-autos carry more ammo. And you want to feel and handle and work with them. You know, a good consultant, we consider ourselves, not salesmen, will ask you, what are you going to do with the gun? Mm-hmm. If you're just wanting to learn to shoot, that's the big thing. Most people start out with a small caliber. 22 long rifle.
Oh, love it.
Yep. Cheaper to shoot, a lot of fun, not a lot of noise, not a lot of recoil. So you can shoot more with your wallet and more with your wrist.
Well, right, but also that you're learning to shoot without a big kick, without any sort of recoil. Well, there's a little bit of recoil, but you can work on your form that way. And I think that's key. I think that's very important is form.
Absolutely.
Hold that thing properly in every which way. If it's
right.
loaded, unloaded, you hold that thing the right way. Frank Mercy can teach you how to do that, too.
You do that. You pick the gun up like you're going to shoot it every time. And you follow the 4 safety rules.
Which
are? Number 1, treat all guns as loaded
Amen.
all the time. Number 2, never point the muzzle at anything you're not willing to destroy. So you'll notice in our store, you're never going to see the front end of the gun. Number 3, keep your finger off the trigger, out of the trigger guard until you're on the target ready to shoot. Lower the gun off the target to see if you hit it or not. In my case, I didn't. But see if you hit it or not, your finger comes out of the trigger guard. And the last one is be sure of your target and what's behind it.
What's behind it, absolutely.
And for those of you getting into it, we know rule number 2 and 3 are the ones that tell us right away if we're dealing with a trained shooter or an untrained shooter. If they pick the gun up and put their finger on the trigger and point it at us, then we know, okay, this is a brand new shooter. We don't jump up and down and get
It's
mad.
a newbie. We got a newbie here.
We just gently step aside and we talk more about the basics of firearms.
Okay, and I think that's great. Now, I tell you that I probably am doing this wrong with instruction because I think I've threatened my niece and my children. I've threatened to cut their finger off a couple of times. Is that not how to do it?
Here's what I tell people. When you're a new shooter...
CPS is going to be rolling up at any moment here, yeah.
When you're a new shooter and we go out for the first couple of times, I tell them, I'm the instructor. I'm responsible for the rules. A good instructor will take care of that. I want the student to be relaxed and have a good time and want to come back.
Right.
What I tell them is if you violate these rules, that's my job to keep it safe the first couple of times you shoot. And I'll correct you gently. I won't get mad. However, if after you've been out shooting a few times, you start violating these rules, we don't jump up and down and yell at you. We just forget your phone number the next time we go shooting. I have a lot of friends. I love them, but I won't go shooting with them.
I can imagine. Now, let's say that because a lot of us shoot out in the desert.
Right.
A lot of us go shooting in the desert, whether we're doing it properly or not. It's what Arizona does. Your best advice give me your best advice when somebody does roll up beside you and they've got the body targets and they're holding the 9 sideways with one hand and this and that. Do you just walk away? Do you laugh? Do you just get out of there, get the heck out of Dodge?
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe hand them your card?
Yeah.
You might need to talk to Frank.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting, an unwritten protocol in the desert. Have you noticed that if you're shooting, usually a good shooter, an experienced shooter, will not pull up right next to you. They'll go 50 yards down the way.
Easily, right.
But if it doesn't look right, and there have been times when I've just said, you know what, we've had enough fun today.
Yes.
Let's pack up and leave.
Yes. And I actually have a picture up on my Facebook page of me and my niece and my daughter out shooting. I took that picture as we were leaving, and we had only been there for, I think, an hour. Because somebody rolled up beside us acting crazy, and we're just, let's take a picture. We're here. Oh, look at us. And then we had to take off.
Exactly.
We had to take off. Once again, let's get into it. The first gun, it comes down to fit. It comes down to darn it, try it. Try it first,
yes.
Please.
Handle
Don't just get something because you were told you have to get it.
Exactly. It should fit you, and you should be comfortable with how it operates.
Yes, you have to be comfortable, period. That's just the way it goes.
Absolutely.
All right, Mark Stewart from Arizona Game and Fish, off-highway vehicles. He is going to be taking your calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-5827. Any questions for boating, your quad, your side-by-side, we're going to handle it with the pro, the one that knows. He's going to be here next, and I want to thank you, Frank, for being here. Invaluable advice. Please, any of your questions you still have, 411-923. We can have Frank help you out with those, or email me at mike@ktar.com, and I'm going to get it over to the experts at AZ Firearms. I just love this half hour of the show talking AZ Firearms. You guys are absolutely amazing. You're running a great shop. You're doing great stuff. We want to have you back soon.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, more next, right? Get Outdoors, KTAR.